Hyundai's crossover lineup is expanding rapidly, with the all-new Kona and a redesigned Santa Fe on the way. Right in the middle, you have this Tucson, which, like all Hyundais, has a large variety of value-packed trims to choose between. This review will cover all of those trims, so let's go ahead and check out this value leader. We would like to specially thank Gates Hyundai in Richmond for inviting us out to film one of their vehicles. If you want to find out more information about their dealership and massive inventory of new Hyundai products, then check the video description for both their physical and web addresses. So most Tucsons, specifically the Sport trim and up, come with Hyundai's smart entry system and this key fob. I have to say this has a really attractive design compared to what you get with rivals. So to unlock, all you have to do is press this black button. Like always, the first thing we'll cover is the powertrains. Even if it's not readily apparent, Hyundai likes to make changes to their vehicles every model year, so for 2018 we pick up an extra engine. The Sport trim only now comes with a 184 horsepower 2.4 liter 4-cylinder engine, in place of the previous 1.6 liter turbo. However, that engine remains in the lineup for this Value Edition and the Limited, making 175 horsepower and 195 pound-feet of torque. For the remaining trims, you have a smaller 2 liter 4-cylinder engine, making slightly less power at 164 horsepower and 151 pound-feet of torque. You also have a couple transmissions, since a 7-speed dual-clutch automatic pairs with the turbo engine, and a traditional 6-speed automatic pairs with the two naturally aspirated engines. But regardless of engine choice or trim, all-wheel drive can be added for an additional $1,400. The turbo engine and 7-speed DCT are plenty responsive for this type of car. The steering is light and low effort, but not sloppy, and the chassis is firm enough to get the job done. For those of you keeping track, that means there are 6 possible fuel economy variations. Now I'm not going to ramble through all of them, so just know that you can get up to 27 combined with the front-wheel drive 1.6 liter, or as low as 22 combined with the all-wheel drive 2.4 liter. Those numbers place it right in line with most rivals. So that's a real basic rundown of the powertrains. So now let's check out the exterior. Hyundai's fluidic design language has evolved over the last several years to have a more mature and sophisticated look, and that can clearly be seen here in the Tucson. The front has sharp but not overly aggressive lines, with your typical trapezoidal grille dominating in the middle. On the vast majority of trims, it is finished in this matte silver with black accents, but on the Limited it is chrome to add a little more pizzazz. As far as the headlights go, again everything except the Limited gets these halogen projector beams. The base model would do without the LED daytime running lights, and the Limited adds LED low beams. Finally, along the bottom, you'll find fog lights on every trim except the SE. Looking at the side of the Tucson, it appears sportier than most of the competition, thanks to an upward sweeping body line that visually shrinks it. Dimensionally though, it is roughly the same size as the Honda CR-V and Mazda CX-5. And moving around back, that same athletic look continues with a sloped rear window and thin taillights. Now these are halogens, but LEDs do come on the Limited. Finishing off the design is a gray diffuser with integrated dual chrome exhaust tips only on the right side. All in all, the styling is a pleasant mixture of not being too aggressive, but also not being too boring like a lot of other things in the class. Moving on to the wheels, there are two options, both alloys, measuring in at 17 and 19 inches. These are obviously the 19s, and they have a really attractive contrast design that looks straight off a Lexus RX. The other wheel isn't quite as eye-catching, but at least it does have a shiny finish. The brakes are 12-inch ventilated disc in the front and 11.9-inch solid disc in the rear. And the tires, all seasons. Coming up to the mirrors, they are always body colored and power adjusting, though you'll need to get at least the Sport for the turn signals. Also starting on the Sport are built-in blind spot indicators and rear cross traffic alert. On the safety front, the Tucson does very well for itself, earning a top Safety Pick 2018 badge from the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety. Contributing to that score are active safety features like lane keep assist on the Value Edition and up, and forward emergency braking with pedestrian detection optional on the Limited. I will say, however, some rivals include those features standard on all trims. As far as towing goes, this can handle up to 1,500 pounds, if for some reason you ever need to use it. All models get a rear spoiler, but the SE will do without these roof rails. They're also only black on the Limited and Value Edition. The last thing we have is the fuel ranges, which vary widely due to all the engine options. The tank size is 16.4 gallons, good for 410 miles with this all-wheel drive 1.6-liter turbo model. It can be as high as 443 miles in the most efficient form, and it does run on regular fuel no matter what engine. Well, that covers everything on the outside, so now let's check out the feature-rich cabin. Up until this point, I haven't really mentioned the relation to the Elantra, but looking at the interior, you can definitely tell the resemblance. Since the Value Edition is designed for maximum bang for the buck, we actually have cloth seats, just like the SE, SEL, and Sport trims. SEL Plus and Limited have leather seats, but regardless, the color choices are black, gray, or beige. The door trim also looks very similar to the Elantra, with leather padding on the armrest and soft touch materials covering all the rest. The window is one-touch automatic for the driver only. So the seat is 8-way power adjustable on all but the most basic SE, which has a 6-way manual one instead. The cloth itself has a nice texture that also seems very durable, and I like the stitching. So for those of you new to the channel, Mason owns an Elantra, so I can immediately tell there are a lot of common characteristics. That's not a bad thing since all the materials are solid, with nicely grained plastic on the upper parts. The lower parts are also hard touch, but all the pieces feel heavy duty and fit together perfectly. On the Sport and Up, press the button to start. This is the 7-inch display, which splits the difference between the 5-inch one on the SE and the 8-inch one on the SEL Plus and Limited. The gauges are the typical Hyundai design, which is to say classy but nothing extravagant. In the middle, you have this 3.5-inch multifunction display, which shows all the normal stuff you'd expect. The steering is electric power assisted, and the wheel itself has a nice design with leather stitching on the Sport and Up. These buttons are dedicated to audio and phone controls, and the other side is for the standard cruise control. The wheel itself is manually tilt and telescoping, but not heated. Now for interior storage, the Tucson has plenty, if a little less than some of the competition. In the center bin, you have a large removable tray, and then a very deep area with a felt lining on the bottom. Even though the seats are cloth, the armrest is still leather. Beyond that, there are a couple places here, and then a large area up front with a USB and two 12-volt outlets. Almost every model comes with this leather-wrapped shifter. Moving it to the left allows for manual shifting, but there are never any paddle shifters. When you go into reverse, this backup camera appears across the lineup, including the handy active trajectory. We also have parking sensors. Directly behind the shifter, there's a cluster of 4 buttons. One to switch into sport mode, hill descent control, locking center diff, and turning off the parking sensors. Next up we have the climate controls, which is 2-zone automatic for the Sport and Up. This is a very simple setup to get used to, since all your controls are large, well labeled, and clustered together. The SE and SEL would get manual controls. In addition, there are also heated seats on all but the base trim, plus even ventilation on the Limited Ultimate. Now let's take a listen to the standard 6-speaker audio system. Sound quality is surprisingly good for a bass system. And that brings us to the Hyundai BlueLink system, so let's take a quick look. This is the home screen, which can be customized to show pretty much any app you'd like. You can click on certain parts to jump to them. I currently have my phone paired through the standard Bluetooth and can play, pause, and skip tracks straight from here. Heading into phone, it will open up a list of your recent calls. Scrolling is nice and smooth, and tabbing over will show you a list of your synced over contacts. In menu, you have more apps to pick from, like Pandora or Radio. But more importantly though, are Android Auto and Apple CarPlay abilities. This is a super nice feature to have, and it's standard on all but the SE. That's all I'm going to cover in this video, but if you'd like to see a deeper dive into the system, including the settings section, then check out our dedicated tech help video. A link is provided in the description. Up at the top, you have an auto-dimming mirror with HomeLink universal remotes built into the bottom of it. One of the other big value items is this pano moonroof. This is a massive panel of glass, and the front part does fully open up. Honestly, this is more impressive than what I've seen in a lot of luxury cars, and this is the only trim that is standard on. So summed up, the Tucson's cabin packs in a lot of features into a small price tag. This Value Edition barely cost over $29,000, yet it has features that some rivals don't include even at the fully loaded $40,000 range. Great job, Hyundai. Now I'll go ahead and let my brother show off the back seats and the cargo.
The back door trim of the Hyundai Tucson is pretty nice, just like the front. You've got leather padding on this part, it's pretty soft here, and it is even soft touch on the top part. The window is power, but it's not automatic. And down here you do have some storage, perfect for a water bottle. In the rear of the Tucson you have 38.2 inches of legroom and 39.2 inches of headroom. That puts it behind major competitors like the Honda CR-V, but it is right on par with other stuff like the RAV4. Seats are made of this cloth material, unless you get the SEL Plus or Limited, and I found them to be pretty comfortable. Down here in the center, you do have these rear vents on sport models and up, and you also have the option of getting heated rear seats on the Limited with the Ultimate package. So that's a pretty crazy feature to have in this class. Hyundai does give you a nice armrest with some cup holders inside. Up top you do have a pano roof, but we don't have it open. You have an assist grip, a coat hook, and LED lighting. As far as legroom goes, this is behind Drew's position, and I do have plenty of leg space, at probably about 6-7 inches, and my feet can slide up underneath the seat. Scooting over, I have a couple inches of legroom with the seat all the way back, and once again my feet are able to slide up under the seat. Alright, so what's my opinion of the Hyundai Tucson's rear seat? Well, I find it to be very comfortable back here. The cloth seats are nice. There's plenty of room, even though it's not as big as some competitors. And I do think Hyundai kind of makes up for it with this nice pano roof on the ceiling and the option of heated rear seats. So this is a very good family crossover for most people. You can fold the seats, they are 60-40 split, just grab this handle. They do fold nice and flat. The Value Edition and up do get a hands-free power tailgate. Once it opens, you'll have 31 cubic feet behind the second row seats and a maximum of 61.9 cubic feet. That's about average for the class, but it is less than competitors like the Honda CR-V. Okay, we do have a lot of junk back here, but as you can see, there is plenty of space. And there is a nice spare tire under here. The passenger seat is manual on this Value Edition, but it is 8-way power on SEL Plus and Limited. The dash is a nice grain plastic here. The glove box is dampened, and it is pretty good sized. You have a nice big mirror, and you do have lighting up here. And if you need a little extra storage, there is a little slot here, perfect for papers or whatever. Well guys, we hope you enjoyed watching this in-depth look at the 2018 Hyundai Tucson Value Edition. Stay watching for a quick look at the pricing, and don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons if you enjoyed. We'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.